The future, as deduced, changed once again. Not only was the destruction of Earth accelerated, but the entire celestial serpent star system was also destined to become the primary battlefield for the dark side universe. However, in the next second, another palm suddenly appeared behind me, followed by countless palms that seemed to fall from the sky, madly slapping towards the seabed. I, like a roaming dragon, continuously weaved through the sea. The eye, glowing with a scarlet light, stared at me grimly. Cunning bug, don't even think about escaping. Seeing this, I couldn't help but sigh softly, trying to pull the same old trick, dragging me into that abyssal chasm space filled with gray bubbles. What a pity. Having been fooled once before, how could I fall for it again? With that said, I clenched my fists. You should know, the same trick won't work on a saint twice. In that instant, as I threw a punch, a fist wind carrying a terrifying shockwave crazily rushed towards it. However, my attack couldn't harm it in the slightest. I then placed my left hand on my right wrist, extended a finger, and made a taunting gesture. Come and get me. If you don't, I'm leaving. At this, it continuously let out a humming roar. I will catch you. Hearing this, I remained unfazed. We'll talk when you can actually catch me. You should go back now. Stop wasting your efforts. Soon, my figure appeared above the sea's surface. After this test, it was clear that it couldn't do anything to me because it truly couldn't get out. With that thought, I immediately used my origin power to deduce the future of Earth again. But when I saw that Earth would be destroyed in 7 years, my brow furrowed slightly. It had shortened by another year. It seems my provocation angered it, making it speed up its efforts to break through. 7 years was enough time for me to relocate all of humanity. To be safe, I could get it done within 3 years. However, just then, a terrifying thought suddenly appeared in my mind. What if, after it breaks out of the abyssal chasm, it brings not just the disaster of destroying a single planet, but a calamity that sweeps through a star zone, or even an entire star system? If that were the case, things would be troublesome. With that, I began to deduce the future of the entire celestial serpent star system. Soon, the result calculated by the origin power was presented before me. In 7 years, the dark side overlord would invade, the white mist star zone would be destroyed, and the celestial serpent star system would become the primary battlefield for the dark side universe. Seeing this, I was instantly dumbfounded. Because of my ignorance, trillions of lives in the entire celestial serpent star system had needlessly lost a year of their existence. Now, my every move affected the future of the entire star system. The mistake I made should be rectified by me. It was like an apple bitten through by a worm. I could either go around the outside of the skin and eliminate all the worms to mitigate the crisis, or I could wait until the skin was completely broken, then be the first to charge forward and plug the gap. Right now, I only had these two choices, but no matter which one I chose, I needed immense strength as support. A dark side overlord capable of causing the fall of an entire star system would have to be at least a level 14 or 15 powerhouse. In my previous deductions, I would break through to level 15 at the age of 100,000. Now, I only had 7 years. It seemed I had to give it my all. Thinking of this, I used my mental power to capture a shark from the seabed. I slowly looked at the eye in my palm. Excuse me, I need to borrow you for a moment. With that, I pulled the eye out of my palm and then placed it into the shark's mouth. In the next second, the shark's eyes instantly turned scarlet, and its entire body underwent a tremendous transformation. Watching the mutated shark dive into the sea, it seemed my idea was feasible. By installing the aberrant cells into the body of this level 8 exotic beast, I could have it monitor the abyssal chasm space for me at all times. Even if something went wrong, it wouldn't matter, as its main body was still inside me. Soon, on a cruise ship in the East Sea, as my figure slowly descended, I pulled the beautiful commander into my arms and whispered, "My love, let's move to another planet." Dong Qingxue buried her head in my chest. "I'll follow your lead in everything." The next day, I left Earth in a spaceship, crossing over a dozen light years. I gazed at the blazing star before me, emitting endless flames. This should be the one. This is currently the most suitable place for my martial arts training. At this moment, above a burning crimson sun, I was looking at it through the spaceship's glass. The nearest habitable planet to this star was 15 light years away. As long as it didn't suddenly explode, it wouldn't have a major impact on the surrounding life-bearing planets. Although I didn't think I had the power to make a star in its prime explode, it was better to be safe than sorry. Then, a hint of excitement flashed in my eyes. The surface temperature of this star was as high as 6,000 degrees Celsius, a condition where even atoms would be ionized. I wondered if my current strength could withstand this temperature. To ensure safety, I should probably increase my strength a bit more before entering. Immediately, a call from me was received on a communicator far away in the Yamu star zone. The personal assistant assigned to me by Pavlov answered the signal. "Lord Liu, what are your instructions?" I spoke faintly. "I'll send you a set of coordinates later. Then, have someone deliver a batch of energy crystals to me every 10 days. And please thank the chairman for me for helping with my home planet's issue." After I spoke, the assistant reminded me, "The Interstellar Martial Arts Genius Exchange Tournament that the chairman mentioned to you has already sent out invitations to the surrounding 12 star zones. The location is right here in our Yamu star zone, and it's scheduled to start in 4 months." After receiving this news, I simply said, "Notify me in advance when the time comes," and hung up the communication. Afterward, I walked into the spaceship's training room. Looking at the energy energy crystals piled high around the room. I decided to make do with this stockpile for a while. Then, I looked up and instructed the spaceship's artificial intelligence, simulate a 50,000 times gravity environment. As the ship's mechanical voice replied, 50,000 times gravity activated. In an instant, an invisible pressure filled my entire body. Scarlet liquid continuously flowed from the corners of my mouth, and the veins on my face bulged. It felt as if I was carrying an entire planet on my back, and the blood vessels all over my body burst from being unable to withstand the pressure. Seeing this, there was not a trace of fear in my eyes. Instead, they became even more resolute. I didn't have time for a gradual approach. Desperate times call for desperate measures. In the next second, under the influence of my mental power, the surrounding energy crystals shattered with a boom, turning into streams of pure energy that surged into my body. I will do everything in my power, recklessly, to become stronger. This was also the first time in my life that I had thrown myself into training so completely and without reservation. Meanwhile, as I trained frantically, the invitation from the Yamu star zone was crossing star clusters at incredible speed, being delivered into the hands of the top powerhouses in various star zones. In the Wandering Cloud star zone, an old man looked at the invitation in his hand, a hint of displeasure on his face. Just because they found one immortal level genius, they're so eager to show off. Well, old man me is not going to let you have your way. He then ordered loudly, all genius powerhouses from the Wandering Cloud star zone are forbidden from attending. At the same time, in the Brand star zone, a female warrior wearing a helmet walked into a luxurious palace. Father, have you seen the invitation from the Yamu star zone? With that, she knelt on one knee. Father, please permit me to participate in this tournament. The man spoke slowly. Do you know that he is a genius with an immortal level transcendent life constitution? Hearing this, the female warrior's tone was full of determination. That's precisely why I must go. To contend with an immortal bloodline is such a rare opportunity. Perhaps I can use this chance to break the limits of the sacred seal mark and get closer to the great Lord God. Upon hearing this, the man raised his hand and injected a stream of energy into his daughter. If that is your wish, then go. Immortality is not an unbreakable myth. The great sacred seal will guide you, and supreme glory will manifest upon you. As his voice fell, endless battle intent erupted from the woman's eyes. I will not disappoint you. And at this time in the Share star zone, a one-eyed old man was also looking at the invitation in his hand. The Yamu star zone really got lucky this time, digging up a bloodline like this. But fortunately, his strength is only level 9. They are looking down on people a bit too much. Someone, come. Hearing this, a young man suddenly appeared. Chairman, what are your orders? The one-eyed old man handed the invitation to the young man. Your plan to go to the otherworldly battlefield will probably have to be postponed. There's a competition here you might be very interested in. Although Hurl possesses a mid-tier level 12 Radiant Sun bloodline, his cultivation technique can hide his true strength. The invitation only specifies level 11. Hurl can suppress his cultivation to level 11, which will be very interesting. It would be fun if he accidentally slips up and beats Yamu's immortal level genius. Meanwhile, in the spaceship's gravity training room, after adapting to the 50,000 times gravity, I slowly opened my eyes. I found that I seemed to be a few centimeters shorter than 10 days ago, but my strength was more condensed than ever before. The more than 30,000 immortal cells in my body had even begun to outline the star chart of the sun god's domain. Then, my entire being vanished from the spaceship. I looked at the burning crimson sun before me. Next, it's your turn. I set the Void Piercer spaceship to park in place and activated its defense mode. Then, in an instant, I arrived above the furiously burning star. Gazing at the planet before me, radiating endless heat, a flicker of excitement crossed my eyes. When I was at level 8, the flames I controlled in my state of clarity reached over 1,000 degrees. Feeling the violent, scorching energy all around, the surface temperature of this star should be over 6,000 degrees, but for me now, it's nothing. Then let's begin. With that, I rapidly charged towards the sun in front of me. As I got closer and closer to the star's surface, my clothes vaporized in an instant, like steam. This feeling was unprecedented. I greedily breathed in the surrounding scorching energy. The internal temperature of the star could reach billions of degrees, definitely enough to meet my training requirements. However, just then, a violent surge of energy instantly filled my entire body. The more than 30,000 immortal cells within me pulsed as if they had a life of their own, until a mysterious golden totem slowly emerged on my back. Feeling the generation of one immortal cell after another within me, my eyes filled with joy. I should have come here to cultivate long ago. For me, this is a true paradise. But to reach the ultimate state, I must go deeper into the star's interior. Before long, I will reach the peak of level 9, fill the final gap in my martial arts avatar, and officially charge towards level 10. With that thought, I flew rapidly into the star's interior, heading for the final heritage point of the earthly martial path. Time flew by, and nearly 3 months had passed since the invitations for the Interstellar Martial Arts Genius Exchange Tournament were sent out. The convening of this tournament was like a massive meteor streaking across the quiet of the starry sky, crashing hard into the 12 star zones and shattering the peace they had known for countless millennia. Countless genius powerhouses traveled in their spaceships across numerous light years to the Yamu star zone. At this moment, aboard a large merchant vessel from another star zone, Zone. A powerfully built young man stood out amongst the many merchants. Just then, a voice called out, "Mr. Leo, what are you thinking about?" A woman with an impressive figure, holding a cup, walked over slowly. Seeing her, Leo spoke slowly. "Respected Lady Trinice, I am merely passing the boring time. The starry sky is beautiful, isn't it?" Hearing this, the woman smiled. "You can just call me Trinice." Then, she brushed her hair back from her ear. "The starry sky is indeed beautiful, but looking at it for too long can become a bit dull and monotonous." Trinice then looked at Leo with affection in her eyes. Because of that interstellar tournament, pirates are rampant across more than a dozen star zones. The law enforcers of the Yamu and White Mist star zones alone can't handle it all. It's a good thing you're here on this trip. You make me feel much more at ease. Leo smiled faintly. "At ease? I haven't had that feeling in a long time. Do you know how many colors there are on the otherworldly battlefield?" Seeing Trinice's surprised expression, Leo continued, "On the otherworldly battlefield, you can only see 3 colors. There's only the gray sky, the black exotic beasts, and the red earth soaked with countless blood." With that, Leo showed an embarrassed expression. "I'm sorry, I recalled some unpleasant memories." Trinice tried to calm herself. "Mr. Leo, you're being too formal. Let me introduce you to the popular contestants for this tournament. This person is Gray from the Blue Devil clan of the Black Butterfly Star Zone. She has a Radiant Moon Transcendent Life Constitution, is 700 years old, and possesses the power of a peak level 11. Another is the Ice Devil Monroe from the Sheer Star Zone, with a Radiant Sun 3-star Transcendent Life Constitution. He is less than 400 years old and could break through to level 12 at any time. His future is limitless. Finally, there's the key figure of this tournament, the possessor of the once-in-a-million-years immortal bloodline from the Yamu Star Zone. Looking at the figure in the data, Trinice murmured, "I once thought this was something out of legend, but I never expected it to be real." Hearing this, Leo couldn't help but sigh. Yes, even on the otherworldly battlefield, immortal-level beings are extremely rare and dazzling. But then, Trinice laughed. "It's a bit of a shame, though. This immortal-level genius is only level 9. I'm afraid his light will be overshadowed by the other geniuses in this tournament. The pre-tournament predictions for him winning are less than 20%. Instead, the Ice Devil Monroe from the Sheer Star Zone is the biggest favorite. This immortal seed might just be snuffed out in its cradle. By the way, Mr. Leo, are you planning to participate in a tournament? With your strength, making it into the top 10 should be easy, right?" However, Leo shook his head, indicating he wouldn't participate. Then, an imperceptible cold smile appeared on his lips. "Because I have more important things to do." At that moment, Trinice looked at the handsome face of the man beside her and spoke slowly. "Since Mr. Leo has more important things to do, then let's forget it." She then smiled. "Could you tell me what the otherworldly battlefield is really like?" Leo gazed at a dark red star in the distance, lost in thought. "You could say it's a cradle for the strong, a competitive arena for prodigies, or a meat grinder for the weak. At every moment, extraordinarily talented powerhouses rise, and there are also those who unfortunately fall. Blood and fire fill the entire space, with no time to breathe, only endless despair and death." Trinice looked at Leo with admiration. "Let the bad memories pass. Your survival and return from the otherworldly battlefield is proof enough of your extraordinary martial prowess. If you were to participate in the Interstellar Genius Tournament, you would surely secure a good position, if not shake the starry sky." Leo's eyes showed no emotion. "I've long grown tired of fighting and have become indifferent to fame and fortune. All I want now is a place to call home and to live a normal life." Hearing this, Trinice quickly spoke up. "Then why don't you join our merchant group as the head of the guards? We can offer you any terms you desire." However, as soon as she finished speaking, a terrifying pressure instantly enveloped the entire merchant ship. A virtual screen appeared before Trinice. "Report, Commander. Our ship is under attack by unidentified assailants, most likely pirates." Trinice was instantly stunned. Looking at Trinice, who had collapsed to the floor, Leo slowly extended his hand. "Take me to the guard team." Meanwhile, countless pirate ships were rapidly approaching in the cosmos. And now, in the ship's guard hall, as Leo appeared before them, they seemed to have found their backbone. "It's Lord Leo. We're saved." Leo spoke to comfort them. "Everyone, calm down. This is not a big problem." He then asked Trinice, "Are all the members of the guard team here?" Trinice nodded, confirming they were all present. "The full strength of our Jadeite merchant group is here. Please give the command to fight the pirates." However, as soon as her voice fell, Leo pulled Trinice into his arms. "You've done a really good job." With that, his eyes radiated a murderous intent. In an instant, a scarlet blade light cut through the void, madly spreading in all directions. Wherever the blade light passed, liquid splattered. In just a single breath, the bodies of the numerous guard members were torn to pieces. Gazing at the hellish scene before her, Trinice's eyes were vacant, and she kept repeating one sentence. "Why? Why is this happening?" Leo grabbed the back of Trinice's neck and whispered in her ear, "Because you've always been my prey. Actually, there are many other colors on the otherworldly battlefield, like the blood of the starry nobility, which is quite colorful. I wonder if your blood is as brilliant. Oh, and I forgot to tell you something. It's not that I don't want to participate in that Interstellar Genius Tournament, but that I can't, because I'm an escapee from the otherworldly battlefield. After my identity was stripped, I'm not even a citizen of the stars anymore." Soon, after a thorough plunder, countless pirates cheered. As expected of the Starling Leo, he took down this merchant ship without breaking a sweat. Hearing this, Trinice's pupils contracted. So you are the 3S class pirate, Starling Leo, wanted by a coalition of 8 star zones. But don't get too cocky. The Jadeite has been within the network surveillance range of the Interstellar Law Enforcement Department. The moment you attacked, the Star Cops were already on their way. Leo smiled. Thank you for the reminder. It's about time for us to leave. He then waved his hand. All units, listen up. Prepare to evacuate in 1 minute. Then, he grabbed a handful of Trinus hair. Thank you for helping me once again. I, Leo, hate wasting food. I eat every last grain of rice in my bowl. How about I reward you properly tonight and let my men have a taste as well? At these words, a wicked smile appeared on the faces of the many pirates. However, just then, the cry of a phoenix echoed through the universe, and countless golden crows soared through the starry sky. A nearby star seemed like an eye, quietly watching everything. As a giant foot slowly stepped out of the burning star, in the next second, a colossal golden figure stood in the universe. In the name of the immortal, I sentence you all to death. Leo stared at the scene before him, his eyes filled with terror. The originally dim star suddenly erupted in fierce flames, as if to burn everything around it. And within those flames, a golden giant tens of thousands of feet tall stood erect in the void, as if born from the fire. Seeing this, Leo immediately turned and roared at the pirates, full attack on the star ahead. As his voice fell, countless spaceships began to accumulate energy, aiming their cannons at the burning star. In an instant, barges of attack shot towards it. But just then, the sleeping golden figure opened its eyes like a god. With a single glance, it dispersed all the incoming attacks. At the same time, countless pirate ships exploded like fireworks, creating brilliant bursts of light in the starry sky. Witnessing this, Leo immediately ordered all ships to scatter. However, the only response was the busy tone from his communicator. Feeling an unprecedented sense of powerlessness, Leo collapsed to his knees, muttering, "How is this possible? How can this be possible?" But in the next second, he was surprised to find that the golden figure was shrinking at a visible rate. I stepped out of the flames as if reborn from fire. Then, I slowly raised my arm. With a wave of my hand, I dispersed the surrounding flames, and my clothes reappeared on my body. Under the horrified gazes of everyone, my figure suddenly appeared on the Jadeite merchant ship. Seeing me, as if a king of the starry sky had descended, Leo's body couldn't stop trembling. How is this possible? Who are you? But then, he quickly lunged at me, his speed leaving after images in space. Don't underestimate me, he roared, his face contorting with rage as he gathered energy in his hands. Die! I simply snapped my fingers. A small golden crow appeared at my fingertip. The moment it touched Leo's body, it suddenly dissipated. But in the next second, a huge ball of fire rapidly engulfed his entire form. In the blink of an eye, only Leo's agonizing screams could be faintly heard in the space, as if he had never existed. Seeing this, the numerous pirates fell silent. They couldn't believe that the peak level 11 Starling Leo had been eliminated just like that. Looking at the young man before them, their hearts were filled with utter terror, followed by an overwhelming fear of death. I snapped my fingers again, and waves of painful wails spread throughout the merchant ship. Looking at the charred bodies on the floor, I spoke slowly to Trinus. Contact the Star Cops and tell them to come quickly. Tell them I've taken care of everything. Trinus stared blankly, murmuring, "Could you be the legendary possessor of the immortal bloodline?" However, I paid her no mind, as a question had appeared in my mind. Just how strong am I now? Then, a terrifying pressure emanated from within my body. Perhaps no one would ever know, or could ever know. Soon, I returned to my own spaceship. It's a good thing I can construct clothes with my mental power, otherwise, every time I activated the stellar sovereign body, my clothes would explode, and I might have been mistaken for an exhibitionist. I then called Dong Qingxue to let her know I was safe. I also took the opportunity of this tournament to bring my family and the martial saints I was on good terms with to the Yamu Star Zone. Then, I spoke to the ship's intelligence. Destination, Yamu Star Zone's main sector. Meanwhile, at the main satellite dock of the Yamu Star Zone, my parents, whose appearances had changed after receiving countless resources and reaching level 6, were strolling down the street with the beautiful commander and others. A group of people walked towards them and said respectfully, "Welcome, distinguished guests, to the 8th Star Zone. On behalf of the Yamu Star Zone Federation, we extend our most sincere and warmest welcome to you all." However, just then, a huge spaceship suddenly landed. Seeing this, my sister, Lu Qinghe, became incredibly excited and took out her phone, ready to take a picture. But after seeing the striking wolf head pattern on the ship, the old man's eyes widened in horror. "Oh no, this is bad. That's the spaceship of the Adrip Bloodvein clan from the Silver Rock Star Zone. Weren't these troublesome people supposed to arrive this afternoon? Why are they so early?" As the spaceship landed, Lu Qinghe excitedly held up her phone. This spaceship is almost as big as several White River City stadiums. However, just then, the cabin door slowly opened, and several wolf-headed, human-bodied alien species walked out. The moment they stepped off the ship, they noticed Lu Qinghe holding her phone and crazily taking pictures of them. Seeing this, the leading wolf person roared at her, "Hey, what are you doing?" The old man beside them knew this was bad. "This is trouble," he thought. He shouted to the group behind him, "Get over there, quickly. If this isn't handled well, it will be a major diplomatic incident." In the next second, wolf howls echoed throughout the entire dock. In just a moment, countless wolf people surrounded them. Seeing this, Lu Qinghe's pretty face instantly turned pale. Her intuition told her she had caused trouble again. The leading wolf person's eyes were filled with murderous intent. You will pay the price for your actions. With that, it raised its claws. Die, little girl. However, at this critical moment, the diplomat quickly intervened. Please wait. She doesn't know your rules. Ignorance is not a crime. Please forgive her actions. The lead wolf person replied, we, the great Adrit Bloodvein wolves, never allow anyone to take pictures of us, for it is a blatant blasphemy and insult to us. She must be punished. Previously, because of this taboo, the Bloodvein wolf clan had clashed with many factions, often washing away the insult with the heads and blood of the blasphemers. After hearing the introduction of the Bloodvein wolf clan, the beautiful commander's brow furrowed. Is there no room for negotiation? Those Bloodvein wolves are all super stubborn beastkin warriors. In this situation, unless the chairman himself can come. However, as soon as the words were spoken, the void beside them made a sound like shattering glass, and Pavlov slowly stepped out. Even after seeing him, the lead wolf person remained adamant. Even if the chairman himself pleads, my clan's beliefs will never be compromised. Pavlov simply whispered a few words in its ear. In an instant, the lead wolf person's pupils contracted violently as if hit by an earthquake. Is what you say true? After receiving an affirmative answer, wolf howls once again echoed through the dock. The surrounding wolf people all knelt on one knee before Lu Qinghe. Honorable friend, please forgive our ignorance and rudeness. We implore you to accept the highest apology of the Bloodvein wolf clan. Seeing this, Dong Qingxue was slightly taken aback. She thought that with the chairman Lu Xing had mentioned arriving, the matter would be settled, but she never expected this outcome. She really had no idea what her husband's status was now. Lu Qinghe cautiously asked, so, can I still take pictures of you? At this, the lead wolf person's eyes lit up. Of course, you can. He looked at his clansmen behind him. To show our sincerity, little ones, get to it. Immediately, the numerous wolf people crowded around Lu Qinghe, their faces full of fawning expressions. The diplomat who witnessed this couldn't believe it. This will definitely be on the front page of the Yamu Federation Daily tomorrow. Meanwhile, after several days of flying, I was also about to land at the dock. Looking at the photos my sister posted on her phone, I couldn't help but smile. She made friends with an alien race so quickly. I was a little worried about them, but it seems I underestimated my family's ability to adapt to new things. With the technological level of the Yamu Star Zone, it would be easy for my parents to live past 1,000 years old. If they also cultivated martial arts, that would be even better. The greatest pain in this world is when you wish to care for your parents, but they are no longer there. I don't want that regret to happen. Soon after I landed, Pavlov introduced me. This is the commander-in-chief of the front lines, Ulu. Also, the interstellar tournament is starting in a few days. There are some things I need to discuss with you in detail. At this time, Aikli slowly spoke. Starling Leo, the 3S class fugitive wanted by a coalition of 8 star zones. Thanks to your help, I've received hundreds of thank you letters from different star zones these past few days. Far was instantly shocked. That was a peak level 11 character who had even been to the otherworldly battlefield. Although he later deserted, his strength was not to be underestimated. I remember the Black Butterfly Star Zone once sent 3 level 11 law enforcers who couldn't even capture him, but in Lu Xing's hands, not even dust was left. Immortal level, it's just too exaggerated. I wasn't very interested in their praise and asked instead, can you tell me in detail what the otherworldly battlefield is? You'll have to go there sooner or later anyway. It's good to learn about it beforehand. With a gentle wave of her hand, a virtual screen suddenly appeared. The otherworldly battlefield is a space created by the collision between our universe and another universe. It's also the main battlefield against the otherworld. Countless martial arts geniuses from the starry sky eventually go to the otherworldly battlefield to temper themselves, so it's also known as the Cradle of the Strong. And the so-called exotic beast invasion is just an other-dimensional universe that happened to collide with ours. Sooner or later, we will completely drive them out, and even a counteroffensive is not impossible. Hearing this, I couldn't help but fall into deep thought. Is it really just an other-dimensional universe? It's not hard to see that they view the exotic beast invasion lightly. The higher-ups of the starry sky are optimistic about the battlefield situation, even thinking they have the upper hand. Is it because the level of a level 12 law enforcement chief is too low? Or do the powerhouses of this universe still not know about the dark side universe overlord? The source of all evil might be invading multiple universes simultaneously, and the intensity of its invasion into our universe is not yet severe, which is why it gives them this false impression. But if they wait until the dark side overlord descends in 7 years, it will be too late. I then asked, Law Chief, do you know what a dark side overlord is? The moment I said this, the eyes of the 3 of them flickered. Then, Ulu looked at me with a serious expression. Lu Sheng, where did you hear this term? I once sensed a strange consciousness fluctuation from another world deep in the abysses of my home planet, a place invaded by exotic beasts. The words dark side overlord were among them. Hearing this, Ulu's eyes seemed to sink into an endless abyss. I also heard this term when I was on the otherworldly battlefield. Dark side overlord is a title of respect for a certain level of powerhouse in the other dimensional universe, and their strength is roughly equivalent to a level 16 powerhouse in our universe. My pupils couldn't help but shrink violently at these words. Level 16? Equivalent to the realm of my teacher, Yan Izhou. You must know, Master Yang is a star domain lord. Overlord. I never thought that the invading shadow in the oceanic abyss catacomb on Earth had reached level 16. It's truly unbelievable. After hearing Ulu's introduction, Pavlov couldn't help but say, "Old Ulu, are you kidding? How could a level 16 powerhouse appear on a novice resource planet like Lu Xing's home planet?" Ulu slowly closed his eyes, his brow furrowed. Perhaps it's just a being from the other dimensional universe that knows the name of the dark side overlord, but its level is definitely not low. A level 16 can be the master of a large star domain. Ordinary level 11 or 12 powerhouses wouldn't even know about it. I only learned about this after becoming a battlefield commander. In any case, if this is true, it's something we must take seriously. Lu Xing, give me the coordinates later. I want to go and see for myself. I nodded in agreement. It would be best if the problem of the oceanic abyss catacomb could be discovered by Ulu and reported, drawing the attention of the celestial serpent star system's higher-ups. This way, with full preparations when the 7-year deadline arrives, we can definitely reduce a lot of losses and save countless lives. As I recounted everything about the oceanic abyss catacomb, the spaceship arrived at the tournament venue. Looking at the incredibly vast arena before me, surrounded by countless asteroids serving as spectator stands, Pavlov slapped me hard on the shoulder. "On behalf of the Yamu Star Zone Federation, I must thank you properly. The revenue this tournament has brought us is equivalent to the sum of the previous 50 years. We'll have ways to solve problems in the future. Besides you, our Yamu Star Zone has recommended a few other geniuses. I'll take you to meet them soon." As the spaceship arrived above a small asteroid, we saw a white-haired girl facing an attack from 3 others. In the next second, a deep blue blade light cut through space, and the 3 attackers were instantly defeated. Looking at the girl before us, Pavlov introduced her. Her name is Iceplow. She's over 900 years old, at the peak of level 11, and also possesses a radiant moon transcendent life constitution. After seeing us, Iceplow and the other 3 walked over. Pavlov then introduced me to them. "You all probably know him. This is Lu Xing." Hearing this, Iceplow spoke slowly. "I have long heard of the Immortal's fame and finally get to see you today. How about a spar, so I can experience the power of the immortal bloodline?" At these words, the space around us instantly became dead silent. My eyes stared coldly at her. "Are you challenging me?" Iceplow looked at me with a smug expression. "Respected Mr. Lu, don't tell me you're scared." Seeing this, Pavlov thought to himself, this is a good opportunity. If they really fight, I can use this chance to get a clearer look at Lu Xing's strength. However, I paid no attention to Iceplow and just sneered to myself. Then, I slowly spoke to Pavlov. "Chairman, I'd like to spend some time with my family these next few days, so I won't be joining their training camp." With that, I turned to leave. Pavlov was taken aback and quickly said, "Then I'll send you back now." Watching my retreating back, Iceplow clenched her fists tightly. At this moment, the other 3 took the opportunity to say, "Even if that kid is immortal level, he's still only level 10. How can he compare to Lady Iceplow? A gap of nearly 2 major realms is not so easily closed. Besides, Lady Iceplow isn't just level 11. Meanwhile, under Pavlov's guidance, I arrived above a villa. He instructed me, "Lu Xing, the prizes for the top 10 in this tournament are provided jointly by the 12 star zones. The rewards are extremely generous. If you're confident, try your best to get them." I simply said, "Don't worry," and vanished. In the next second, I appeared inside the villa. Seeing me, my mother ran over quickly. "When did you get back, you child? Why didn't you give us a heads up? You've lost weight and gotten tanned. You haven't been eating on time again, have you?" At this moment, the beautiful commander and my sister, Lu Qinghe, walked over with a platter of fruit. Upon seeing me return, Dong Qingxue threw herself into my arms. Then, in a lively atmosphere, our family sat down together for dinner. But then, a hint of sadness appeared in my mother's eyes. "Everything is great here, but there are no familiar faces. Besides your father, there's no one to talk to." Lu Qinghe also muttered softly, "Exactly. I miss my classmates a little in the spicy hot pot at the school gate." My father also spoke up. "Son, are we really going to settle here permanently?" I looked at the beautiful commander. "My love, what do you think?" Dong Qingxue's eyes were full of love. "I'll listen to whatever you say." I sipped a drink in my cup. "We don't have to live here. We can move to another planet. I'll bring everything from Earth over then." At these words, the 3 of them looked at me with happy faces. "Really?" But then, Lu Qinghe asked, "In that case, why don't we just stay on Earth?" To avoid worrying my family about Earth's impending destruction in a few years, I could only say, Earth is, after all, being invaded by exotic beasts and will eventually become a pure battlefield planet. It's definitely not suitable for living. It's better to move away early. Soon, night fell, and I snuggled with the beautiful commander. However, in the next second, she suddenly sat up in bed and took out a small bottle. Her face was full of tenderness. "You're away from home for longer and longer periods now. I wanted to save some of your hair to have something to remember you by." Hearing this, I pushed the beautiful commander down. Seeing her puzzled look, I slowly approached her. "You little imp, you don't need to keep any hair. I'll leave you with something else." And that night was destined to be sleepless. A battle of the century was quietly unfolding in a villa. A few days later, a curvaceous host stood on the stage. "Ladies and gentlemen, the day you've all been waiting for, the exchange tournament encompassing 12 star zones, has finally officially begun. Next, you will witness the clash between the most outstanding martial arts geniuses from the 12 star zones. Let us wait wait and see. At this moment, on a spectator star, I introduced to the group this spectator star was specially reserved for us. You can watch from wherever you like. As the few martial saints from Earth that I was friends with also arrived one after another, Lin Jinghua looked at the scene before him, a hint of pleasure in his eyes. Lu Sheng, may your light illuminate the entire starry sky. Looking at the surroundings, Lu Qinghe exclaimed, this is all so amazing. If only there were fried chicken and Coke right now. I pointed to a control panel nearby. Order whatever you want to eat. They have everything. Then, I looked at my wife, who was clutching her stomach. What's wrong? Are you not feeling well? The beautiful commander's pretty face blushed slightly. It's nothing. I'll be fine after a little rest. Seeing this, I finally realized that I had been too demanding last night, and she couldn't quite handle it. Soon, as countless fireworks bloomed in the starry sky, the Starry Sky Genius Exchange Tournament officially began. There were only a few tens of millions of level 10 martial artists under the age of 1,000 in these 12 star zones. I didn't know if that was a lot or a little. The preliminary and semi-final rounds of the competition would last for several days, with the next group starting immediately after one group finished, until the last group of contestants completed their match. The contestants all liked to wear a type of semi-transparent combat power glasses, which could roughly estimate an opponent's combat power, allowing them to choose opponents of similar strength. Conversely, if the gap was too large, they would simply concede. After learning about some of the competition's details, I left with my family. Passing by a place called Hunter's Restaurant, Lu Qinghe couldn't help but ask, Big brother, the name of this restaurant is so strange. I explained. It's said that this restaurant's home planet is full of monsters made of food, and the main goal of the martial artists on that planet is to hunt for food to obtain higher level culinary enjoyment. They are affectionately called food hunters. As we walked into the restaurant, aliens of various shapes and sizes stood in two lines to welcome my arrival. Even the restaurant owner personally came out from the kitchen. However, just then, a hand suddenly pressed against my chest. Iceplow stood before me, speaking coldly. You refused my sparring invitation last time. You shouldn't have any reason to refuse this time, right? My eyes stared grimly at Iceplow and transmitted my voice via mental power. May I ask if your parents are still alive? Can't you see I'm having a meal with my family? If you're really itching for a fight, wait for me at the entrance. I'll oblige you anytime after I've finished eating. After I spoke, I saw Iceplow look away. At the same time, Jin Yufan slowly asked, Little Sheng, is this your friend? If so, have them join us. Hearing this, Iceplow bowed slightly. My sincere apologies. I have disturbed you. Watching Iceplow's retreating figure, I thought, what an annoying person. I was willing to let it go out of respect for the chairman, but does she really have to push me until I punch her to feel comfortable? Soon, accompanied by elegant music, one delicacy after another was presented by the servers. I watched as a server took an ugly-looking bowl from a box. However, after she placed it on the platter in front of me, the grime on the bowl's surface rapidly sloughed off, revealing an exquisite piece of dinnerware filled with a delicious broth. At this moment, I finally understood the saying, the food at Hunter's restaurant might not be the most delicious, but it is certainly the freshest. In no time, the table was filled with endless delicacies. As I savored the food, I checked Iceplow's personal information. Looking at the data on the virtual screen, I was surprised to find that she really had no parents and had lived alone for over 900 years. She wasn't good at socializing, and her hobbies, aside from food, consisted of ascetic training. No wonder. To put it bluntly, she was an aloof, socially inept ascetic. That's why she wanted to spar with me on both occasions, regardless of the setting. But understanding is one thing. If she dares to do this again, I'll beat the crap out of her. After our family happily finished a grand meal, we were informed by the server that Lady Iceplow had already settled the bill for the honored guests. I was taken aback. Was this her way of apologizing to me? Thinking of this, I couldn't help but smile. In that case, I'll go a little easier on her next time we meet. Time flew by, and the Interstellar Martial Arts Genius Exchange Tournament had been going on for a full 8 days. Even so, after more than a dozen rounds of elimination, over 40,000 geniuses remained. In Lu Qinghe's palm, a small, eyeball-like object floated. This is the most advanced camera equipment I specifically bought. It's guaranteed to capture every bit of your shadow and will even broadcast it live on Earth. Big brother, you have to get first place. At the same time, the beautiful commander quietly took my wrist. She then threw herself into my arms and whispered, you must come back safely. I stroked her hair dotingly. Don't worry, I'll be fine. Just then, Pavlov's virtual screen suddenly appeared. Lu Sheng, are you ready? My eyes were full of determination. Please rest assured, Chairman. As you wish. This will be a battle to display our might. Seeing this, Pavlov stroked his beard. It's good that you're confident. I've also arranged for an old acquaintance to be your assistant for this tournament. As his voice fell, Far's figure appeared behind me. I was overjoyed. It had been almost half a year since I had seen Far. As the person who guided me into the starry sky, I held a bit of gratitude for him in my heart. But in comparison, Far's gratitude towards me was even greater, to the point that he was now on the candidate list for the next Star Zone Law Enforcer. Not only that, but he was also included in the level 12 training program, and his noble rank had been elevated. Listening to Far's own account, I couldn't help but think of Lan Chen, whom I met on Earth. Strictly speaking, he was the first person to guide me into the starry sky. I wonder how he's doing now. Meanwhile, Meanwhile, on one of the many spectator planets for the tournament, Lan Chen was watching the competition through a screen, surrounded by empty bottles and cans. Seeing Lan Chen's state, Zhao Lin couldn't help but say, "Cheer up, brother. At least you got the latest model of the aircraft you always dreamed of, and it was a personal gift from far. Countless people are envious of you." At these words, Lan Chen crushed the cup in his hand, the veins on his face bulging. "I could have had more, billions of times more. I don't need a gift from Far. He's deliberately humiliating me." At the same time, Far was explaining the rules of the semifinals to me. The semifinals were divided into 5 rounds. The first 3 were 10-person brawl elimination rounds where only one would advance, and the last 2 were one-on-one matches. I couldn't help but ask. The preliminary and revival rounds were one-on-one. Why did the semifinals switch to a 10-person free-for-all? A hint of embarrassment appeared on Far's face. The one-on-one matches were taking too long, and we received too many complaints, so we decided to change the format at the last minute. But don't worry, although the draw is decided by the arena, to ensure the excitement of the tournament, the seeded contestants from the major star zones generally won't meet in the first 3 rounds, and among the remaining contestants, over 20% are level 11 martial artists. My eyes flashed with surprise. Nearly 10,000 level 11 martial artists under the age of 1,000, even for the sum of 12 star zones. That was quite an exaggeration. I then asked, among these 40,000 plus contestants, are there any level 12 powerhouses? Far thought for a moment before answering. There definitely are, but they are only suspected cases, so I can't be certain. One is the top-seeded contestant from the Sheer Star Zone, the Ice Devil Monroe. He has a Radiant Sun Transcendent Life Constitution and reached the peak of level 11 300 years ago. He is a famous prodigy in the Sheer Star Zone. He went into seclusion to break through to level 12, and now that he's out for the tournament, many people are saying he has already broken through. Another one is Qian Yushu from the Purple Orchid Star. He is over 300 years old this year. This person's situation is a bit special. It's said that he is the reincarnated soul of a powerhouse from another civilization, from another star domain, or perhaps even another universe. It's rumored that at the age of 50, he was just an ordinary person with martial arts strength, not even reaching level 3, but in less than 200 years, he advanced to level 11, or even higher. I thought to myself, isn't this a case of a great power being reborn? But then, my eyes filled with battle intent. I never thought I'd meet a reincarnated powerhouse from a past life fantasy novel. It seems this competition will be very interesting. I shook my head slightly. The starry sky is vast, and there are all kinds of people, but on second thought, I'm a transmigrator myself, though I was reborn. Compared to Qian Yushu, who comes with a cultivation system, I'm far behind. I then instructed Far, please help me keep a close eye on this person. A grave look flashed in Far's eyes. In fact, quite a few people are interested in him. Because he is too mysterious, he has even attracted the attention of people from the star system level. If he hadn't voluntarily jumped out to participate in this tournament, we would have no idea about his situation. However, as I was pondering Qian Yushu's purpose for participating in this tournament, a dazzling golden light suddenly bloomed from my chest. As a beam of light enveloped me, Far exclaimed, "It seems the draw for the semifinals has officially begun." Watching the beams of light shooting up into the sky, I slowly looked at the card representing my identity on my chest. At the same time, Far also checked the contestants in the same match as me. After reading the entire list, Far looked at me anxiously. "I can't believe there are 3 level 11 martial artists competing with you. Lu Sheng, do you want to see their files?" I replied faintly, "No need." Then, I disappeared from my spot. Seeing this, Far couldn't help but worry. 3 level 11s? How did the committee arrange this? Is Lu Sheng being targeted? Soon, as 10 beams of light appeared on the stage, the host shouted into the microphone, "Ladies and gentlemen, the seeded contestants from the 12 star zones have all entered the arena. The first round of the semifinals officially begins. Who are you rooting for?" With that, the host pointed forcefully, "And this is our most watched contestant, the first super genius in a million years to have a transcendent life constitution of the immortal level. He is from the Yamu star zone, Lu Sheng." As my face appeared on the virtual screen, I instantly attracted everyone's attention. While being watched by countless people, the other 9 contestants on the stage couldn't help but focus their gazes on me. A burly man carrying a heavy sword spoke slowly. When I first saw the group results, I thought it was just someone with the same name. I didn't expect it to be him. Feeling the scorching gazes around me, the corners of my mouth curled up slightly. It seems I've become the public enemy. However, the host spoke again. "What incredible power does the immortal level possess? I believe everyone is very curious. Let's look forward to seeing if our level 10 Lu Sheng can withstand the fierce onslaught of a group of powerful opponents, including 3 level 11 contestants and 6 of the best among the level 10s, to advance to the next round. Let's wait and see." Far was instantly shocked. Damn it, where did the publicity department hire this idiot? Isn't this setting him up for failure? The intention of the 10-person free-for-all was to have them fight it out to select a final winner, but with this idiot's interference, he had effectively pushed Lu Sheng into opposition with the other 9. Even if Lu Sheng won a 1-on-9 fight, the halo of the immortal bloodline possessor would be greatly diminished. What a fool. Of course, Far wasn't the one to see this, but apart from Lu Sheng's family, no one cared. They would be thrilled to see Lu Sheng fight 1-on-9, let alone 1-on-100. Soon, under the host's words, everyone's emotions were quickly ignited, and they were more eager to see Lu Xing spill his blood on the stage in this match. Feeling the atmosphere, the burly man murmured, "It seems they want us to team up and attack that guy. I don't mind. What about you?" A green-haired woman spoke slowly. "To be honest, I'm also very curious about how strong the immortal bloodline really is." With that, the woman's aura gradually rose. "I've heard that transcendent life constitutions can fight above their level as easily as drinking water. I wonder what the immortal level is like." At the same time, a violent killing intent erupted from the purple-haired young man standing next to her. "Then the three of us level 11s, plus 6 level 10s. That doesn't count as bullying, right?" At these words, a heavy sword slammed onto the stage. The burly man's body was engulfed in pale blue flames. "In that case, let's all attack together." At this moment, watching the 9 contestants slowly surround me, a flicker of excitement crossed my eyes. They all want to test the immortal. Huh? In the next second, an unparalleled and terrifying aura was instantly released from my body. Then, as you wish, I slowly lifted my foot and then stomped it heavily on the stage. In an instant, the ground cracked. A powerful shockwave swept across the entire stage, sending all the contestants on it flying backward, unable to control their bodies. Looking at the empty surroundings, I slowly extended a finger. "This will be the best opportunity in your lifetime to defeat me. Please try your best to beat me." After I provocatively challenged all the contestants and casually walked off the stage, the audience erupted in cheers. "What just happened? Clearing the stage in one move? That's too exaggerated." Even Chairman Pavlov was moved. "Is this the power displayed by the immortal bloodline? It's truly a kingly posture." At the same time, Far's gaze became feverish. "This is the power of the immortal. My previous worries were a complete joke." After this battle, countless audiences across different planes became infatuated. The dominance, power, and terror I displayed perfectly encapsulated their fantasies and aspirations for the immortal bloodline, truly breaking the mold and making me the sole supreme powerhouse in millions of years. At this moment, one of the contestants I had blasted off the stage struggled to his feet, his body trembling uncontrollably. We didn't even have a chance to make a move, and we lost just like that? The purple-haired youth beside him had a look of unwillingness on his face. Isn't he just a newly advanced level 10? We couldn't even stand in front of him. Then, they all raised their hands to surrender. The host shouted, "What a surprise. I didn't expect the match to end just as it began. Immortal level. This is the real deal. The power of the immortal level." He pointed at me forcefully. "How exciting. Who can possibly stand a chance against our Lu Xing?" Meanwhile, in another arena, numerous contestants were frozen on the stage. A man with 3 pairs of wings slowly raised his arm, an ice dragon appearing behind him. With a snap of his fingers, countless ice crystals bloomed on the stage like magnificent flowers. The host immediately announced loudly, "Congratulations to contestant Monroe from the Sheer Star Zone for his victory." Like Lu Xing next door, he managed to take out the entire field in one move. Hearing this, Monroe glanced at the adjacent stage, a hint of anticipation in his eyes. "Interesting. I'm already getting impatient." In another arena, a woman tightly gripped the hilt of her sword. In the next second, with a single slash, a sea of flames instantly swept across the entire stage. "I will personally challenge the immortal to temper my own glory." Soon, in the following matches, I won 2 more rounds as if blowing away dust. However, the one person I couldn't do anything about was the host of the entire tournament. Whenever I got on stage, he would get as excited as if he had been injected with chicken blood, making me really want to punch him. After witnessing all my actions, Far's fanaticism for me grew even stronger. Lu Xing has completely steamrolled through 3 rounds of the semifinals. The remaining 40-odd contestants are all level 11 powerhouses or above, and Lu Xing has the lowest realm among them. But in these few rounds, he has treated all his opponents as if they were nothing. It seems the immortal bloodline is even more terrifying than I imagined. At the same time, I equally slowly spoke. Lu Xing has now gained everyone's recognition. Even the predicted odds of him winning the championship have surpassed the original favorite, Monroe. Pavlov's brow furrowed slightly. Next are the one-on-one matches. It can be said that he will be facing the strongest from each star zone. Just then, the host announced loudly, "Next up is the first match of the 4th round of the semifinals. It's also an internal battle for the Yamu star zone. Lu Xing versus Iceplow." As Iceplow stood on the stage, she spoke slowly to me. "This time, you have no excuse to avoid me, right, Lu Xing?" My lips curled into a slight smile. "Aren't you tired of pretending? You're clearly scared to death, yet you still put on an act of wanting to fight me. Are you really okay with deceiving yourself like this?" However, at these words, Iceplow couldn't help but burst out laughing. "You're saying I'm afraid of you? Quite the contrary. I'm afraid you won't be able to withstand a few of my slashes. Afraid you'll lose face in front of your parents." I looked at Iceplow as if she were a clown. Whether she was truly afraid or not, perhaps only she knew in her heart. Seeing the contempt in my eyes, Iceplow quickly charged towards me. "When have I ever been afraid of you? I've been looking forward to fighting you for a long time." In the next second, as she raised her weapon, countless sword shadows appeared in the void. I remained calm, standing in place, my hands blurring into afterimages to block the sword attacks. Then, after snapping Iceplow's weapon with 2 fingers, I began to gather energy in my right fist. Speaking slowly, "I hope you've prepared yourself for death. However, However, just as my fist was about to touch her face, Iceplow shouted, "I surrender." I placed my hand gently on Iceplow's shoulder and whispered in her ear, "Next time you try to act tough, pay attention to controlling your muscles and heart rate." With that, I slowly left the stage. Consider this repayment for the meal you treated my family to. As I defeated Iceplow and slowly walked off the stage, the host immediately shouted, "One punch, another punch." Our Lu Xing once again ended the fight with a single punch. It's truly incredible. Even Iceplow, who possesses a Radiant Moon Transcendent Life and peak level 11 strength, couldn't take one punch from Lu Xing. Is the legendary immortal bloodline truly that domineering? However, just then, my communicator suddenly buzzed. As the virtual screen unfolded, my sister Lu Xing's excited face appeared. "Big brother, you're too strong. When can you teach me?" A bitter smile appeared on my lips. I was originally a low-key, humble, and gentle person. It seems I have no choice but to continue being high-profile. In that case, to put my family at ease, I'll have to crush my opponents as quickly as possible. Soon, the next two contestants also stepped onto the stage. One was from the Wandering Cloud Star Zone, and the other was from the Purple Orchid Star Zone. Both were famous super geniuses. Compared to my match, their battle lasted for more than 10 hours, and the intensity far surpassed my fight with Iceplow. This was also the first time I had closely watched a battle between high-level transcendent life forms. The match ultimately ended with the victory of the Radiant Moon 1-star genius from the Purple Orchid Star Zone. After watching their battle, I had some insights. Transcendent constitutions were far superior to ordinary starry nobility in terms of life level. To put it simply, their life constitution and physical structure were more perfect than ordinary life forms. It was like two sailboats on the water. One had to slowly start paddling, while the other was gently pushed by soap and triggered its warp drive, allowing it to reach the speed of light. In that case, my stellar sovereign body and the Sun God Domain Star Chart's power system were still very advanced, at least within the 12 star zones. There was nothing stronger. However, just then, a red-haired girl shrouded in blue flames appeared in my vision. Far introduced her to me. She is Grey from the Blue Extreme Demonic Flame Clan of the Black Butterfly Star Zone. She has a Radiant Moon 9-star Transcendent Life Constitution and has also reached the peak of level 11. She is one of the few contestants we need to pay close attention to. A flicker of battle intent crossed my eyes. Her blue flames were the complete opposite of my blazing sun star. If my flames were domineering and explosive, then hers were filled with a cold and corrosive quality. At the same time, the host's excited voice echoed throughout the entire arena. The next contestant to appear is someone many of you are very familiar with. He once spent a year eliminating over 1,000 infamous space pirates. He has also frozen a star with his bare hands, and his name has resounded throughout the entire Sheer Star Zone. He is the most outstanding genius in the history of the Sheer Star Zone, the Ice Devil Monroe. At these words, all the spectators instantly erupted. I couldn't help but be surprised. Is this Monroe's reputation that great? Far lowered his gaze slightly. When Monroe rose to prominence, the title of Ice Devil was not just limited to the Sheer Star Zone. Even the surrounding 5 or 6 star zones were overshadowed by his genius. He was the most anticipated top genius until you appeared, and he has accomplished many unbelievable feats. Although his freezing of a star has been exaggerated, I guess it was a small star nearing the end of its life. It's still quite remarkable. At least I've never heard of anyone being able to do that at level 11. His strength should not be underestimated. As Monroe spread his white wings and appeared on the stage, his opponent could only stand there trembling. Monroe's eyes suddenly narrowed. In an instant, a huge block of ice fell from the sky, smashing onto the stage, and the contestant's entire body was embedded in the ice. The host was completely stunned. This is a one-glance freeze. Contestant Monroe actually froze his opponent completely with just a single look. It's simply incredible. At the same time, the audience was also abuzz with discussion. Level 12. Monroe has definitely advanced to level 12. If that's the case, Lu Xing is a full 2 major realms behind him. At this moment, Monroe looked up slowly at me, standing in the audience. His eyes were filled with battle intent. Lu Xing, I'm waiting for you. On the other side, Far looked at the virtual screen showing the support rates for me and Monroe to win the championship and muttered to me, "Are you confident you can win against him?" I replied faintly that I didn't know. It wasn't that I was scared before the fight, nor was it the difference in our strength. It was because I really didn't know how strong I was right now. After all, the strength Monroe had shown so far was just the tip of the iceberg. How could two uncertain quantities be compared? After Monroe's battle, no subsequent match could compare to his. The power of that one-glance freeze was too stunning, leaving many spectators still immersed in its power and terror. Monroe's chances of winning the championship had reached an astonishing 95%. At the same time, the host was also announcing the upcoming match. Next, let's welcome Qian Yushu from the Purple Orchid Star Zone to the stage. I immediately looked at a young man. On the stage, Qian Yushu exuded a faint martial artist's aura. A ball of light slowly condensed at his fingertips, surrounded by green lightning. In the instant he raised his hand, the ball of light turned into several streams of light that shot rapidly towards the contestants on the stage. The moment they were hit by the green light, the contestants felt as if their souls had been pierced. My eyes suddenly narrowed. Sword energy fired from the fingertips. Unbelievable. He can instantly mobilize hundreds of times the natural universal energy of an ordinary level 11 powerhouse, Far explained beside me. That's right, he doesn't even have a transcendent life constitution, but Qian Yushu's mental power is astonishingly strong, and his fighting style is also very unique. My lips curled into a slight smile. Interesting. Could he really be the reincarnation of a great power from another universe, recultivating? If I get the chance, I must capture him and study him thoroughly to see if I can elevate my complete martial path to another level. Soon, after several rounds of elimination, only 24 contestants remained. In the next round of competition, I once again ended the match without any suspense. Although my performance still amazed the audience, it lacked a stunning visual impact of Monroe's one-glance freeze. Even if I didn't want to admit it, Monroe's match had set an incredibly high bar for style. At the same time, I was also paying attention to every one of Qian Yushu's matches. After a few rounds of fighting, Qian Yushu's championship odds also rose to 72%. Looking at my own dwindling support rate, I couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed. Just then, a slight vibration came from my chest. The moment I opened my phone screen, I saw my sister Lu Qing's excited expression. It feels like you're winning too easily. I haven't even had a chance to cheer for you before it's over. Then came my mother's worried voice. Little Sheng, if you can't win, don't force yourself. Looking at the odds, it seems like not many people are optimistic about you. My father also chimed in. Son, listen to your dad. Surrender if you have to. You're already amazing, especially that so-called ice devil. You must not fight him head-on. I spoke faintly. That's because Monroe's previous opponents were too weak. He's not as amazing as you think. At the same time, the beautiful commander's face was also full of worry. You must be careful. Seeing her, my eyes filled with tenderness. Don't worry, my love. Soon, after comforting my family, the remaining 14 contestants also stepped onto the stage and began the first round of the finals draw. The few people standing on the stage at this moment could be said to represent the strongest few under the age of 1,000 in the 12-star zones. However, just then, Far's voice suddenly came from the phone. He said anxiously, Lu Sheng, look at the latest information I just sent you. We have confirmed that both Monroe and Qian Yushu have advanced to level 12. You need to be mentally prepared. If you are no match for them, you must not force it. After all, you are still so young. I just said, got it, and hung up the phone. A serious look flashed in my eyes. Level 12, is it? Compared to the level 13 zombie powerhouse in the dream space, how do they measure up? The first round of the finals ended with a slash of a deep blue blade. At this moment, Far looked at the stage and murmured, this Gabler's also has a Radiant Moon 9-star Transcendent Life Constitution. He's a top contender for the top 5. You need to pay close attention to him. I couldn't help but yawn beside him. Seeing this, Far roared at me, Lu Sheng, your championship odds have dropped out of the top 5. Aren't you worried at all? With that, I let out a slight sigh and patted his shoulder. Don't worry, people's memories are the most prone to fading. If you don't keep emphasizing it, they will soon forget. I then asked seriously, Far, what do you think the immortal bloodline should be like? After hearing my question, Far's face was filled with confusion. However, just then, the host's voice rang out again. Next up, it's our possessor of the immortal bloodline, Lu Sheng, against the demonic flame gray from the Blue Devil clan of the Black Butterfly Star Zone. As his voice fell, a beam of eerie blue flame descended from the sky onto the stage, and a curvaceous figure stepped out of the flames. The host exclaimed excitedly, we can finally see a duel between truly top-tier experts. This will definitely be an exciting match. With that, Gray beckoned with her finger, her face full of provocation. Seeing this, I became a little interested. I slapped Far on the shoulder. Let me show you what the immortal bloodline truly is. After saying that, my figure appeared on the stage. Gray's lips curled into a slight smile, her face full of allure. Immortal bloodline. I finally have the chance to verify it for myself. However, in the next second, her body was suddenly engulfed in blue flames. This is truly exciting. Under everyone's astonished gazes, in the blink of an eye, the burning blue flames formed a suit of armor that clung tightly to Gray's body. At that moment, a fierce killing intent shot out from her eyes. Feeling the powerful aura radiating from Gray, I chuckled lightly. You want to personally verify the immortal? Are you prepared to shed blood? Hearing this, Gray's lips curled in disdain. In an instant, a vast aura erupted from her body. The host exclaimed in surprise, this is the power of the rules of the Galactic Twin Bridges. Our contestant, Gray, she has successfully advanced to level 12. Unbelievable, she is not even 200 years old. Just as the legends say, a natural-born body for combat. As the great power of heaven and earth continuously gathered towards Gray, a pale blue flame slowly appeared in her eyes. Now, am I qualified to fight against the legendary immortal genius? I grinned and faintly uttered 2 words, not enough. This way, I won't have to worry about accidentally killing you. At these words, Gray instantly shot towards me. What arrogance! I slowly clenched my right hand into a fist. In the next second, at the moment of their collision, the entire stage was filled with golden and blue light clashing against each other. At this moment, Gray was continuously using the pressure I was giving her to push herself to complete her rule quenching faster. A level 11 martial artist controls the rules, while a level 12 channels the power of the rules into their body to reforge their martial physique. Pavlov's eyes widened in shock. She has just entered level 12, and she can already continuously perfect and integrate her rule power during combat. This means that Gray is constantly instantly approaching the true level 12. At the same time, Far, who was watching from the side, was also full of surprise. It seems Gray is now qualified to fight Monroe. She will definitely be in the top 3 of this tournament. As the battle between me and Gray gradually reached a fever pitch, Aikali's face showed difficulty. Even so, Lu Sheng is not losing ground at all. Even though he's a full 2 major realms behind Gray, he can last this long without falling behind, which is proof of the power of the immortal bloodline. However, just then, a voice suddenly sounded. Pavlov, it seems your Yamu Star Zone's immortal bloodline is about to stop here. A curvaceous figure slowly walked over. This person was the chairman of the Share Star Zone. It's a bit embarrassing to nip the bud in the cradle. Pavlov spoke faintly. Although Lu Sheng is an immortal, he is only in his 20s and has just advanced to level 10. It's understandable that he can't defeat a level 12 Radiant Moon. However, the curvaceous woman was unfazed. Is that so? What a pity. I was originally hoping to see the clash between our Monroe and the immortal bloodline. It seems I won't have that chance. Pavlov looked at the stage. Although he didn't want to admit it, based on the current situation, our side was completely at a disadvantage. Are you really going to stop here? As the battle between me and Gray reached a fever pitch, she leaped high into the air, her body entwined with lightning. Can you take this? In an instant, a terrifying shockwave swept across the entire stage. Seeing me struggle to block her attack, a faint smile appeared on Gray's face. Lu Sheng, our battle is about to end. Then, 2 demonic skulls formed from flame shot straight at me. In the next second, with a deafening explosion, a huge blue beam of light shot up into the sky. However, as the light gradually dissipated, only a few wisps of green smoke rose from the bottom of the crater. A flicker of surprise crossed Gray's face. I can't believe you managed to dodge that. At the same time, my figure appeared behind her, and I spoke faintly. I didn't dodge it completely. With that, I revealed that the clothes on my chest had been destroyed by her attack. However, Gray's pupils contracted at the sight. How is this possible? Not even a single scratch was left. Is this the defensive power of the immortal bloodline? She then condensed a pale blue flame in her palm again. Don't get too happy. This is far from my limit. I must defeat you today. But at this moment, I held out a hand to stop her. Please wait. Everything in the universe has its own dark side, even fire, which represents light, and your blue extreme demonic flame represents the dark side of fire, which is why it has the opposite effect of normal flames. A faint smile appeared on Gray's lips. What do you mean? What does the attribute of our Blue Devil clan's bloodline flame have to do with you? You don't actually think that understanding the essence of my bloodline power will give you complete control over me, do you? I slowly closed my eyes. Of course not. Understanding and cracking are 2 different concepts, with a long distance between them. I'm trying to tell you that I'm very interested in your bloodline's blue flame, so I couldn't help but study it carefully while we were fighting. At these words, a hint of confusion flashed in Gray's eyes. So what? I remained silent for a moment before answering. So, it's time for this battle to end. With that, I clenched my fist forcefully. A monstrous pressure instantly emanated from my body. I then slowly raised my arm. It is impolite not to reciprocate. Next, I'll show you the extreme yang side of fire. Wisps of golden flame appeared on my fist. Complete martial path. In an instant, a vast and incredibly pure ultimate flame bloomed on the stage. At that moment, the ultimate light was like a star, making it impossible for anyone in the audience to open their eyes. At the same time, a dazzling light also bloomed somewhere in the universe. In the next second, a clear phoenix cry came from the universe, and under everyone's shocked gazes, a golden crow, burning with fierce flames, dived straight towards me. But the moment it touched my body, the golden crow transformed into the ultimate flame and instantly merged with me. Then, a golden totem slowly appeared on my forehead. I raised my arm again and spoke slowly. Watch closely. Far. This is the immortal. In an instant, the flame representing the ultimate yang transformed into a sword light that shot towards Gray. Seeing this, Gray knew it was bad and immediately released all the blue extreme demonic flame hidden in her bloodline, forming a barrier in front of her. However, the moment the ultimate flame touched it, the barrier shattered like glass, and without the protection of the barrier, Gray was instantly bathed in the ultimate flame. A moment later, looking at the return to normal Gray, I murmured, I told you, if you want to verify the immortal, you must be prepared to shed blood. It seems your preparations were not sufficient. With that, I slowly unclenched my hand, letting Gray's body fall onto the stage.